I'm going to show you how to quickly model out a 2D plan of an outdoor environment into Fusion for use in fabrication, visualization, and show you some different graphical output methods that you can use for your folio as well. So we'll jump into Fusion, and we will then get on with the tutorial. So first thing I've done is I've gone to an image and I'm going to insert that as a canvas. So I'm going to put that on the flat plane. So I'll chuck that here. It's in my downloads folder, and it should be in my downloads folder. All right, and the image is just up here, and I'll insert that into my area. One thing I should probably do before this, actually, I'll backtrack just a little bit. I want to size out my my area that I'm actually modeling. So I'll do that with a construction sketch. So I'll go here, and what I'll do is a center rectangle. It's also here, center rectangle. I've added mine to my toolbar. So I'm going to go here. And Lewis, what are the dimensions that you're looking at? I'll just estimate them. So what, like 5? Yeah, like the
119 by 80.
Okay. So I'll make this like 400 mils by, I'll just go 1 to 2, or actually 400 by 600. Let's look at that aspect ratio. That's pretty good. So a 400 by 600 model, that's manageable. You can make it whatever size you want. The reason we do this first before we add in our canvas is now we can actually size the canvas properly. So we go insert here, open, put it on this face. You can see how tiny it is. So then when you actually scale it up, it should be big enough for you to use as a part of that design. So you just put it inside that box, go OK, and then you start a new sketch. So keep that as your bounding box. You can turn that on and off separately like that. You can also turn your canvases off separately like that. But I'll add a new sketch onto the origin plane. And really this is where I'm going to do my main line work. Okay, so for starters, I'll get this area here. I'm going to omit, like leave out certain details. All the foliage and plants I'm not going to do. All right, all I'm going to focus on here is the buildings, the pathways, and leave it at that. Even the pathways, I won't do this detailing work. I'll just make that a spline and show you a bunch of ways that you can deal with that. The buildings I'll just sketch as a block. Looks like there's some A-frame roofing and stuff like that here, which I won't do. So first step, make a solid line of a box like this and just fit it as best you can. If it's a little bit off, no big deal. So I'll leave that there. And then the rest of it is really picking apart the design for shapes, all right? In this case, you'll notice that it kind of snaps to the grid, and so it can be really helpful to click that off. So in grid settings, you can go uncheck snap to grid, so you can just kind of do it freehand. So here I'm using 2-point rectangle, and I'm just going to put a rectangle there, a rectangle here. And really the main skill behind this is just basic sketching. So you're putting together shapes, trimming paths, and adding any other vectors in any other detail that you need to add. All right, so when this is, I'll pause the video, do this work, and when it's done, I'll show you the end result. So I'll do that for all the paths, I'll leave out the foliage, and that should get you towards the end. All right, so I've done all of my squares and everything like that. All the path shapes that are square at perpendicular angles are done. I've done this little circle for this part here, for the umbrella it looks like. But now I'm going to do switch to the spline tool and do my kind of more free-flowing vectors. So this path here, I'm going to sketch through from here to here. I'm going to make sure it's attached. So you see that little X. And I'm just going to skirt along the edge of the path. Don't worry if the line doesn't go your way, you can always change it with these handles here. So if you go to select, you can move the position of anything that you want. And you can always change the handles as well. So if I click on that, you'll see these little green handles. I can change the direction of that path coming out. All right, so that's one vector. If I wanted just to make this easy, I could do an offset. So if you do an offset, you can just select this offset tool and drag it until it hits that other side of the path, and you know that they'll just be identical. All right, and go OK. So I've done another part of the line here, and you'll probably want to trim out the excess that you don't need. Make sure that it's a selectable area. So here, there's just a tiny little gap, which I would want to drag forward and attach to that line. Do you see the difference that made there? So if I undo, can't select that area. There's a little gap. Pull that forward until I see the X and it intersects that line. And now I've got a selectable path. Okay, the rest here, I could use the arc tool or the spline tool, doesn't really matter. But whatever I do, I'll just offset that path so I know it's consistent. And I'll just keep following this semicircle around. Drag anything around that you want to reposition. Okay, that's another area, and I'll offset this as well. Okay, so I can see there, it's going to make a little gap. So I'll see if I can drag that in. Doesn't want me to. It's probably because they're internally referenced. If you face with that situation, you can just draw a straight line. Just physically draw an extra line that snaps to that path. Or even just go over it. And then you can trim off the excess and you know it intersects. That's weird. Cool. So I'll check back in when all of this is done. All right, the last detail I'm going to add is just this car here, and then I'll see if there's any other details that I need to remember. Last thing I'll do is just add this up, add the little side mirrors and things like that, just so we have that representation of a car there. Just go and block this in, trim out the excess that I don't need. Okay, and I can pretty much hit finish on that sketch and we'll start to block in the main areas of our environment. Okay, so I'll pause it now and I'll take you to the next step. Okay, so I'm done with this first stage, and you'll see here that I've got all these different kind of selectable areas, right? And that's going to form the basis of our 3D model. This you can use, you'll be able to use this for visualization or whatever. I'm going to turn off, I'm going to leave on the Shutterstock plan, but then I'll start actually building my platform base. So what you want to do after this, the first trick that will probably stop you is that when you go to extrude this, and I'll extrude this to 30 millimeters because that's about the size of the base material that we use. It's like the thickness that we use. I'll extrude that up as a new body, and then all of a sudden your sketches disappear. In Fusion, when you interact with a sketch and you extrude it for whatever details you want to get out of it, it'll automatically turn off visualization of that sketch. Just like here, you can see the eyeballs, you can't see them. Turn it back on and you'll get full access back to your sketch, okay? What I might do here, just to make it a bit easier for my process, is I'll edit that and I'll make it -30 and push it down so the sketch is sitting on top. Okay, so I've got this sitting on top, that's my base, and then everything else is going to be either an intrusion or an extrusion. So I'll start with the basic house structures, okay? And you can go in full 3D for this. You don't have to look from the top. Each bit that I want to extrude up, I'll experiment with some height. So 10 mils not going to be a lot. 100 mils, way too much. 30 mils maybe. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, so I can assume this and this would be about the same height, so I can control select those areas and just go okay on that. All right. Notice that after clicking the revisualization or the view of my sketch, I can still see it. I'll do this part of the house. So I'll do this the tallest first, so that'll be probably something like 40. A bit higher than those other houses there, maybe 50. Cool. And then I'll do the rest of it just to kind of start blocking in. That can be 40. And so can that and that. All right, go on to there. I've got my car. Push that up by 10. You know, there's my little car there. I can go back and add detail to that later. Like I said, just blocking in. Then paths. Okay, so what I'm going to do, get all my paths and raise them up to the same level. So here I'm just holding down Control and clicking everything that I need to click. So holding Control, click, click. All right, so my paths will go to one level. So I'll go extrude and I'll put that as like 1 mil, not very high. And just go enter on that. I've got my little umbrella thing here. I'll make that go up 15, a bit taller than the car. And then I've got these curvy paths here. I will push them up about the same. Cool. This is like a driveway part over here, but I can see it extends all the way around. So I want to separate this part here. So what I would do is go back and edit that sketch. So right click, edit, go here, and I should probably be able to extend that out. Or I can add a collinear constraint. So I can set 2 lines to be perfectly in line with each other, collinear. So click that and that. They're collinear, and then I should be able to separate those areas. Just a few little reference tricks to show you along the way. It's not the end of the world if you don't learn it or use it. Finishing that sketch, going back to this last part, and I'll raise that up by 2 millimeters so I can see a differentiation between the area underneath. Okay, so I'll turn off my canvas, I'll turn off my sketch, and here I can see the kind of first basic steps towards modeling that environment. The good thing about this is you can refine it, you can add the chamfers here to model the houses and stuff like that. You can add in all that detail as you go, but you build into this basic model, all right? The other double advantage of this is all of this can be laser cut. So anything that you want to laser cut, you would set as a DXF. So you go here, add a sketch. We want to sketch onto here. I'm just going to project it, go P and OK. Finish sketch. You'll notice we have sketch 3 here. If I right click on it and go export DXF, this is projected geometry. I use the projection thing here. So I just want to make sure projected geometry is still set. I go OK on that. I can name it and go through that whole process of naming and organizing and versioning everything that I have. And then I can put that DXF file directly into Ruby and get that laser cut. So if I go here, Ruby, I'll log in and come back to you when that's all done. So here I'll go import file, go to my downloads, that's sketch 3 DXF, open. It's in millimeters, just click on millimeters, and then you have your job file there ready to go. So to make that a cut, select that, red, that's it. Go create job, put it through as 3mm plywood. That's your part cut right there, okay? So you don't have to faff around in Illustrator at all. to get those things cut. If you want to do like finer joinery or tab work or whatever, yeah, you could add those things in. Yeah, it's a really, really quick, easy, clean way of building your objects. And the great thing about it is that it's all just here available in Fusion as one platform. When you render everything properly, you add your other features. You know, say if you wanted to make, I don't know how many bodies we have here. So you can see here you have certain bodies, certain faces you could render as certain things, yeah, wood or whatever, and you could start kind of developing your visualization that way as well. If I wanted to 3D print these, what I would do is go back into all the extrusions that I made. So if I go here, I would edit this and go new body. Anything that you want to turn into a separate body that's 3D printable, just make sure you extrude it as a new body. So I've got this body, that one and that one. Cool. So here to here, that's my little like mansion or large house model. I can join those as one thing. So just use the combine tool here, make sure it's set to join, and yeah, you don't need to hit keep tools, go OK. And then that is all one 3D model that you can then export as a mesh file. So you can go right click, save as mesh, that's an STL file, 3D print it. So in the one file, you have all the things that you need. Okay, that's pretty much it. You can come and see me if you need any other help with this.